from Cleveland, Ohio. Thanks, but no thanks. It's the AP Show. My name is Jason Pettigrew, and I am in the wonderful Lava Room recording studio today with Mr. Tomas Kalnoky from Streetlight Manifesto. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
And you are all by yourself.
I am.
What? The other 6 guys can't get out of the van to show up to kiss the ring? What's going on here?
I stand alone.
Yeah. Or just Tomas is going to play some songs for us, and that's the only reason why you've logged on today anyway, to check it out. But we're going to blow the breeze a little bit first. But let's begin in the bio, the manifesto bio. It says it's clearly stated that the band are 7 guys,
Yep.
7 different backgrounds, 7 different points of view.
Yeah.
Now, I don't hang out in your practice space, so how does anything get done?
Very little gets done, actually, and it gets done very slowly. So, I think with every band you have different characters, and everyone's kind of vying, for their own voice. But when it comes down to it, the songs are written for the most part before we go into the studio. But then everyone has their own input, adds their bells and whistles and whatnot. And so everyone's voice kind of comes through, and you can. It's very evident, I think, on the records. But yeah, it's kind of lately we've been talking that everything with the band or in bands in general, it's just a huge balancing act. So,
is it something where are you the benevolent dictator?
I am the dictator. I'm not very benevolent though.
So you'll actually go, what the hell were you thinking when you played that? Shut up! Do it again the way I like it. I mean, does it turn into that or something?
No. Well, the irony is that I don't necessarily consider myself a dictator. They might, but they're all superior musicians to me. So I have to kind of take it down a notch because the rest of the guys in the band, pretty much everyone has a music degree. And, they're all like jazz heads, and they're all like very proficient in their instrument. Whereas for the most part, I just kind of learned to bang away on a guitar, and my songwriting and whatnot is all kind of self-taught. So I don't have that sort of I don't have a degree or any sort of like formal education behind what meager skills I might have. So I always got to be careful not to insult them too much, because they can just ask me to play a C chord, and it'll take me a good 15 minutes to find it.
Okay, but to devil's advocate over here.
Sure.
You do have a vision.
Yeah, of course.
And I guess,
yeah.
And that's kind of, I would never demean anybody who is a professional musician who is learned and all that stuff. But a lot of professional musicians tell me that they would rather see somebody fumble through something because of that sense of discovery, that maybe if you just completely overthink something to death, you lose any type of spontaneity or surprise or
definitely.
Like
I mean,
so I mean, it's kind of like it seems that what your band does is kind of a combination. There is a sense of discovery there, because obviously the music wouldn't turn out the way it does.
Yeah, definitely.
So does it come from a distillation? We're all there, or is it kind of like you're kind of like, yes, that, no, not that?
Yeah, I mean, well, going into the songwriting process and going to the studio, I do have a very specific idea of what I want to go for with the song. But oftentimes, someone will come up with something that'll kind of not necessarily change the direction of the song, but definitely add things to the song that I didn't foresee. So yeah, I mean, there is a sort of template or like some sort of plan that I had in my mind. But like I said, the guys are so good that it sometimes kind of veers off to the left a little bit, and we kind of end up with something not entirely what was planned. But but I think that would go for any band. I mean, obviously, jam bands and jazz groups would do it more, and I'd say punk rock bands would do it a lot less. But I guess we're somewhere between those, and in the middle of those. And I mean, that's how we kind of look at ourselves, or at least that's how I kind of look at Streetlight, is kind of an amalgamation of a little bit of everything.
And when you're doing that live, is there a sense where, obviously that you can go take something someplace? Do you feel like you can change things up, or do you think it's like a...
Well, it is hard live, especially with 7 guys on stage, to change things up.
Sure.
Especially some of the places we're playing where the monitor situation is
dubious.
Yeah, dubious at very best. So a lot of times, before every tour, we'll get, during rehearsals, we'll change songs here or there just to kind of keep things interesting, both for us and for the audience, and kind of add sections here or there, or add different breakdowns or whatever, or kind of figure out ways to go from one song to the other. So
somewhere in the between. That's kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky to say. I don't know why. It is a very diverse record because there are a lot of elements to coming in that aren't just, like right out of the, what is ska? That type of exact, precise playbook as to what it's supposed to be. Definitely. Now, given your band's reputation and considering your tenure in Catch 22, do you consider the genuine Streetlight fans as the ones who get it, as opposed to, well, it's not like last album you did or something you did, 10 years ago or something like that? Do you kind of do the Streetlight fans, are they kind of, they know that they're going on a journey and it's going to be cool, whatever it is, or do they expect, well, it doesn't sound like,
Yeah, I mean, I think we get a little bit of, oh man, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead, answer it. Go ahead, sure. No. We love these things. Come on. It's the happy accident. We're all about the happy accident.
All right. Hello? Yeah, can I call you back? I'm kind of on the air right now. Yeah. There we go. I should leave us alone for a little while. Sorry about that. It's very professional, I know.
Don't worry about it. Professional? Yeah. Come on, look at me. Yeah. No, so I mean, what do you think? Do you think that it's just kind of like, well, they're not as good as Catch 22 or something like that? Do you have to deal with any type of that, or do you think that the true fans get it because they know it's going to be different? It's not going to be the same old thing. It's going to be this really cool thing that it's your vision.
To be honest, I don't think we've ever really heard it's not as good as Catch 22. Not to be immodest or anything, but at least if they were comparing Streetlight stuff to the stuff I did with Catch 22, I can't speak for the stuff Catch 22 did after I left. Yeah. But I mean, it's almost a fact that Streetlight music is better than the Catch music I was a part of, just because the Catch music I was part of was high school. It was a high school band, So
oh yeah, sure.
I'm not necessarily ashamed of that stuff, but I'm definitely not as proud of that stuff as I am of the new stuff, and that really comes through, I think. And and the new stuff is more complicated and it's more complex, and there's a lot more influences and whatnot. But I think the majority of people prefer that. I think it's more kind of multiple listen type stuff, as opposed to just a bunch of young kids rocking out, which has its place too. But
oh, absolutely. But I guess being in a band, you have that whole growing up in public thing.
Yeah, exactly. And when we started Catch, we were in high school, and our first record came out like pretty much the year we finished high school, the year after we finished high school. So yeah, there's definitely some embarrassing tidbits on there.
Hey, I'm sure somewhere Paul McCartney has a box of cassettes he doesn't want anybody to hear.
I'm sure, yeah.
What's the first song you're going to play?
I think I'm just going to go ahead and start with Somewhere in the Between. Sounds
good. You're listening to Tomas Kalnoky from Streetlight Manifesto on the AP Show.
All right, here we go. You were gone when we found you. You were practically surrounded, you were trapped. The opposition stalled, the blood ran cold when they saw the look of love in your eye. Maybe the times we had, they weren't that bad, and everything else was part of the plan. And we sang, I don't know where we go, from the Alpha, Omega, the beginning and the end. And we all just idolize the dead. So you were born, and that was a good day. And someday you will die, and that is a shame. Yeah, but somewhere in the between, you live the life of which we all dream. Nothing and no one will ever take that away. You had a love, and that love had you, and nothing mattered, you were fine. Some will complain, they'll just bitter, what a shame. They know that loving and losing is better than nothing at all. Maybe the times we had, they weren't that bad, and everything else was part of the plan, and we sang. I don't know where we go from the album, the slogan, the summary of events, and we all just idolize the past. So you were born, and that was a good day. Someday you will die, and that is a shame. Yeah, but somewhere in the between, you live the life of which we all dream. Nothing and no one will ever take that away. Yeah, and someday soon, my friend, this life will come to an end, but we can't just get in line again.
It's interesting to hear these songs in that particular context.
Yeah. Well, they're all actually written in that context.
Okay.
So for me, it's weird to have to scream them every night.
Scream and have all those other guys with their horns and their drums, and that's it. Hypothetical situation.
Sure.
The band are playing some club run by some cranky old guy. He says to you, "Ska in 2008's never going to be as good as Two-Tone, you kitten." I mean, you excuse yourself, you run back to your laptop, you burn him a disc based on your total love of music, and just to get up in the old guy's face. Who are you going to put on the disc?
In terms of ska artists or?
Yeah, ska artists.
Well, that's always a very difficult question to answer because I probably should have said this first, that we're not really that influenced by ska music.
Okay.
We're not even necessarily huge fans of ska music. We try to do, a sort of a mixture of different genres. One of the main ingredients happens to be ska, but I think that's mostly a byproduct of things I guess I myself grew up listening to and kind of mixed it in with the other things. But for the most part, I don't necessarily listen to ska anymore. I haven't listened to it in a long time, and partially because it's very limited. It's any genre of music that has such a strict set of rules. It gets kind of tiring kind of quickly. And nothing against ska music, especially nothing against trad music. I've been not necessarily misquoted, but quoted, not insulting trad music, but trad ska, but saying that that a lot of it is very formulaic. But I mean, the same can be said for most any genre, especially the current emo whatnot. Everything has.
I see you didn't use the P word.
What's that?
Punk.
Oh yeah, punk.
It's just you know what I mean. This because that's my personal thing. It's like, this is pop music. This is just, there's no, and people are like, oh, it's emo punk. I'm like, there's nothing really punk about it, because I think when you're doing punk, there needs to be some particular type of attitude that goes with it, to use the P word. And I just think a lot of it is just pop music.
A lot of the times, how I look at it in general is as songwriting. Are the songs good? And then a lot of the times what differentiates an emo band from a ska band or a punk or a metal band is how they approach the riffs and what they wear, and their hairstyles, which is kind of depressing. But, at the end of the day, the important thing for, most genres of music is the backbone of a good song,
Absolutely.
And, so often nowadays, you look around and you got all these bands that have the right wardrobe, the right hairdos, the right makeup. More recently, hasn't been that way since the 80s, but it is again now. So
guy liner.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the times, they have all the pieces, but they're missing, someone in the band that can actually write music, that can write a song that can stand on its own. Once you subtract the screaming 13-year-old girls who are mostly attracted to the look. And I mean, it's not just 13-year-old girls. Unfortunately, it's actually guys and girls of all ages that are attracted.
It's 18-year-old guys who want to be in bands like that so they can get 13-year-old girls.
Exactly. Sure.
Drop money for their hoodies.
Yeah, exactly. But so it's when you strip all that away, if there's not actually good songwriting there, it's all kind of pointless. But you can grab an acoustic guitar and play a great song by if there's a particular